Change is coming.
Change is coming.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Don't you worry.
Don't
Don't
worry
worry
about
about
the
a thing.
things.
Hold on. Hold on.
You can make it. You can make it. Hold on.
Hold on.
Everything will be alright.
Some people like to worry.
Uh,
Some people like to hide.
uh.
Some people like to run away.
Wait, bae.
From the pain
Bae.
inside.
Bae,
Hmm?
we got a show to do.
Oh, that's right. We do have a show to do.
Yeah.
Yo. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Marquise.
And this is one and only your favorite Taylor.
Welcome back to the You Stuck With Me podcast.
You stuck. You stuck with me.
Beautiful. How you feel?
Nah.
No.
Nah.
I'm gonna let you have a little leeway, just a little.
Okay, but I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited for what we're about to talk about. This is a very important episode, and this episode actually concludes our series on Black women.
This has been a good series.
It has. I feel like it's been very influential, very
inspiring,
insightful,
and it's giving Black girl magic.
Oh yeah, we trying to spread Black girl magic all through this. So, I like that. So in this episode, we're talking about the presidential election, and part of it's going to cover the recent debate between Kamala Harris and what's his name?
That man.
Yeah.
What was it? What, number 45?
Yeah.
Yeah, number 45.
You know, that's actually an insult to number 45 for multiple reasons.
Let's hear it.
Well, one is when Michael Jordan came back from his first retirement, he came back wearing the number 45. So that's one thing. 45. What was the cable network for 45? It was something good though.
Oh, I don't remember.
It was something, but that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Well, before we get deep into that, I gotta put a disclaimer out here because I don't want nobody DMing us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they blasting us. I don't want none of that. The reviews and opinions are based on our views and opinions, and we're not trying to persuade nobody to go a certain way. Because whatever you want to go with, you go with that. Point blank in the period. Now I will say we're stressing the importance of voting. I will say that.
Yes.
Agreed. But not voting at all is not an option.
Agreed. That's a big agree. Right here.
So yeah.
So if you guys got to watch the debate, it was
hilarious.
It was hilarious, but it was very insightful at the same time. So from what I saw in the debate, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, Kamala Harris just straight crushed him.
I would say this. It gave me vibes that she was sick of his mess because it was one situation where I would say that she broke the fourth wall. So if you ever paid attention to the format of the presidential debate, they're not really directly speaking to each other, right? They're speaking to the moderator, answering the question, excuse me. But I'll forget what he said, but he pissed her off.
Yeah, because she was like, this former president. And I saw that. When I saw that, I was like, ooh, she wants to say something else.
Yeah, not just the former president, but she was talking about how you're this, you're that. That was directly to him. And I'm like, oh, snap.
Yeah, I saw that too. But if I remember correctly, he's like any other time, he starts it first. So all she did was retaliate. But she was still classy about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like anybody. You get annoyed with whatever negativity or the issue is. Only a person can only take so much before you get what you asking for. And I think part of that was his tactic to like get in her head.
And he never really did.
I mean, to us, we never did. But everybody has these different opinions. But I will say this though. As someone who's part of a Greek organization and part of the Divine Nine,
I already know where this is going.
No, for real, because because I don't know what people because you thought we weren't gonna talk about it.
No, I knew we were gonna talk about it, but I just want to wait.
A sorority party.
I just want to wait till we get further in the episode.
I'm just saying, I can't wait till we get to that, cause baby.
So from what I saw after the debate, according
to need some water after that. Piss me off.
I can see that. So according to MSNBC, before the debate, voters were basically split about who they were going to choose between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. But afterwards, it doubled for Kamala Harris, and it was bad for Donald Trump. And I can understand why, because watching it and some of the things that she was saying and some things that he was saying, it's like, okay, if you have common sense and you're really listening, and I'm not gonna say this, I'm gonna say this, both of them glazed over questions. There's no doubt about it.
I agree with that. Both of them did not really get into depth of some of the questions
Mhm.
into their policies.
Which I kind of get, because on one hand you want to be able to try to answer the question, but on the other hand you don't want to put all your cards on the table.
Well, here's my theory on it. Again, this is just my opinion. So you only get a certain amount of time to answer a question, right?
Right? They got 2 minutes.
They got 2 minutes. So you trying to figure out the best possible way to fit like a whole half a book into a 2-minute period,
Mm-hmm.
right? So for example, the way that Vice President Harris did was she said, "Well, let's give a background like how we got here," which I think that's an effective way because sometimes you need a background story, but you using this time as a background story to explain, how we get here. That you use up all that time, we still ain't told us how we arrived.
But here's the thing, though. Even though in that situation that was the case, I think that was, whether she answered the question, whether he answered the question or not, it does. You need the context, because if you don't give the context, then people will only be getting half the story.
I get that, but it got to be some type of balance here. You're not. If I only got a minute to tell you how I'm gonna do something, I'm not gonna spend 45 seconds trying to tell you the background.
But when you sit there and think about it, and we as people don't often think about it, even though 1 minute or 2 minutes can seem so short, it can actually be so long, and that's called relativity.
Mm.
And in case y'all don't know what relativity is I'm gonna give you an example, and this is probably the best example that I've ever heard. If you're a guy, put your hand on a hot skillet, it can seem like an hour. Put your hand on a hot woman, it can only seem like a second.
What?
All relative.
What?
That was LL Cool J Deep Blue Sea, but it made sense to me. She don't know what to say, y'all.
That just blew my mind.
But it made sense, didn't it?
I ain't gonna hold you. It did, but it's like I wouldn't expect you to say deep blue sea.
But when you sit there and think about it, it's true.
I wasn't expecting you to say deep blue sea.
But I'm a little off topic. Some of the biggest lessons that you learn in life comes from the most craziest places.
That's true because real quick, and we're gonna get back on to what we was talking about. That reminds me of this line from Get Rich or Die Trying,
What?
right?
Mm-hmm.
It went something like, it was Terrence Howard. He was in the car and he just picked up 50 Cent from jail,
Mm-hmm.
right? And 50 Cent homeboy, who basically at the end set him up. Sorry if you ain't never seen this 15-year-old movie, I just spoiled it for you. He was talking about how he was fidgeting in the back, and he was like, "It's like
why you fidgeting makes me nervous."
Yeah, but then the part that I'm talking about was, he was like, "It's like when I'm right, it's like when I'm right, I'm wrong, and it's like I'm wrong if I'm right. So if I'm right, I could have been wrong or something like that." And it made sense.
I remember
Yeah.
that. But back to the debate in the presidential election. Kamala Harris, in my opinion, I believe that she, for the most part, did what she needed to do, because when you were looking at a lot of Donald Trump's reactions, he was either, I'm gonna put it like this way: he was not happy
When is that man ever happy?
when he's getting his way, and he wasn't getting his way in this debate.
Mm.
So I think Kamala Harris, like I said, she did what she needed to do, and the good thing about it is that as the nominee who just came in 2 months ago and started to run her campaign, I think that she's done a bang up job considering the amount of time that she's had. And from what I've seen, according to media sources, she's raised a record of, I want to say, $468 million in 1 month. Don't quote me on that, but it was a huge record for a nominee. And I think that the swing states are going to be the ones that really determine this election.
And I think that's part of they for media outlets that I've been seeing that weighed in the decision who her running mate was, right?
Yeah.
To get those swing states a little bit, which I was surprised by him because I'm like, dang.
Yeah, because
he was like not on the list for real.
Yeah, because when he gave his speech at the DNC, it really connected with me personally because he comes from a teacher background. He was a football coach. I played football in high school, so I get that you want to motivate your team. Mm-hmm. So sitting there listening to him, like, okay, you know what? He's got my attention. I like him because I get the similar values that he has, and then he has a son with special needs, which also touched me because I have 3 bonus brothers who are on the autism spectrum. One who's verbal, the other 2 are not verbal. So just the simple fact, me as a voter, that's what connected me with him. And as far as what Kamala Harris goes, she connected me with me just because she's a former district attorney. She studied law. My degree in college was political science. So just knowing the laws and the rules and regulations and things like that, that's what connected with me. And I also like the fact that she's a former district attorney, so she knows how to prepare when she goes to make a statement to the jury or to the judge or whoever. So for her, I felt like this was just another walk in the park. Mm-hmm. But you can't discredit Donald Trump because he's done what 6 or 7 debates running for president. So going against Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and now Kamala Harris, he's got some experience of doing this. But the way that he delivered everything, and this is me, I'm trying to be as unbiased as I can when I say this, but part of his debate stuff didn't make sense. He was going on talking about things that weren't true. And the fact that the moderators, a lot of people saying the moderators were on Kamala Harris' side, no, they were just simply fact checking what he was saying. And what he was saying, they said that he lied about 33, 34 times, and Kamala Harris only did once.
And let's touch on that for a little bit, and then I'll give my intake on it. So, and I think that's what we forget as people out from the outside looking in. When you're doing a job like that, you can't have any feelings about it, no emotional attachment to it. Like, you got a job, just like how sometimes those 911 dispatchers, when they in a situation, like, that's not to say that they necessarily don't feel what you're going through, and they don't show no sympathy, but to keep the mindset, to keep that
the call of
calm, to be able to adequately help you, you got to keep an emotional thing of it. And I know that's easier said than done, and I know some people out there, some of our cousins out there, may disagree with me, but you just got to think of it. Sometimes, like,
you got to take the emotion out of it.
You got to take the emotion out of it, just like how you would do certain business deals, right? Stock market, or even at your everyday job. Some stuff you're just not going to discuss at your job. Or you know what they say, don't bring your personal life into work.
And don't bring your work home.
So, it's, to me, that's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because let's not forget, in the previous presidential debates, it was an outrage talking about there was not enough fact checking of him. And he was just being allowed to say this, that, and the third. And also on the side of Joe Biden, like, they were just allowed to say this and that, but it was not enough fact checking in that.
But here's the thing, though, and this is what crossed my mind.
I'm sorry, I keep hitting you. It's just like
you're good.
My knee hurting, and the old people ailments. But go ahead.
So this is what came across my mind after you mentioned fact checking. You can't be mad about somebody fact checking you if you're constantly lying. So.
But that also brings to a question: what constitutes as a lie?
The untrue.
Yeah, but also too, I'm just being an advocate here. I'm just
playing devil's advocate.
I ain't want to say devil's advocate, but yeah, I'm just playing 2 sides of the coin here. Okay, that's not. Let's just say maybe he wasn't telling it as a fact. Maybe it could be as an opinion from what sources he got it from. Because remember, he mentioned some like mayors and all his and people within his network was feeding him this, right? And then also you got you got his running mate, he's the senator. I can't remember. Yeah,
I can't
who's
remember.
also heavy in the political field prior to accepting the nomination to be the nomination of possibly being the next vice president, right? So it
and you know,
it's the gray area because you don't know, you can't. It's hard to distinct like what is credible and what is not.
And that's a issue that we had in this election,
Yeah.
the previous election, and I want to say 2016 election as well, because people were getting on the internet saying false things on both sides. So it's not what just Donald Trump was getting, but it was what people were saying about Kamala Harris. I remember people were saying that she convicted over 1,000 black men in California as the district attorney. When you do your research, only 45 of them actually were convicted along with the marijuana charges. So, I mean, and that's another thing that we got to stress to everyone who listens to this podcast and we're talking about politics. Do your research.
And Steve pulls up some research for us. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hey, y'all.
You know, it's just, research is key, and then show discernment of the sources you're pulling from.
Ooh, I'm glad you said that.
Right?
Yes.
Now it's bringing me back to my undergrad of learning mass communication and all that.
I think one of these, I do think Trump did say a lot of false things, but I think some of them are a little bit misleading. For example, this abortion one. It says Trump repeated one of his usual falsehoods, that abortions are taking place in the 9th month of pregnancy. But then it says the facts, right? So it says a falsehood, right? It says the facts, fewer than 1% of abortions are performed past 21 weeks of pregnancy. But that's not 0%. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's some of it's distorted. Obviously, I don't agree with Trump on a lot of different things, but I think that personally, there was a little bit of bias towards. I mean, because then I guess I can't even say it. It's almost like a bias towards the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it's like a slippery slope. Like you, again, what we're saying is with that's part of the moderator's job. You know, it comes off as like they showing bias, but really they're
just doing their job.
They're just doing their job. Now, while we talking about abortion here,
can we talk about the fact that he said you can get abortion at 9 months and then backtracked it to 6 months and then finally 3 months?
No, let's talk about how he was saying that some of these states was making it legal to kill off their babies.
We all know that's false.
Like, come on now. But I will say, and the only reason I brought that up because you know how I feel about this whole thing of the government and women's rights to their body and this Roe versus Wade situation.
Yeah, I know how you feel, and I'm gonna go on the record and saying this. This is my personal opinion. Nobody should be telling a woman what they can do with their bodies or she can do with their bodies. No, especially not a man, because as men, we don't know what women go through when it comes to pregnancy.
I agree with you on that, but I brought that up because it's one of the reasons what gravitated me towards Madam Vice President and Senator Walls. There we go. Thank you. So she's always been an advocate for women's rights with their body, right? And I feel like now that this whole governing of a women's body and stuff like that is being used as a ploy to bring light, to disguise all the other stuff that's going on. And also I feel like everything dealing with that is emotional based. Like we're not thinking like
logically.
We're not thinking not even logically, but the real life stuff that happens. So I'm gonna get into my bag a little bit. Sorry, but it's like with abortion, it always has this negative connotation that we getting rid of these kids because we don't want them, right? Which that's not say that's not true, but
it does happen.
It does happen, but there's other factors to it. First of all, I feel like it's being forgotten, and I was just telling this to one of the Peanuts the other day. I feel like that it's forgotten that pregnancy and childbirth is a life-threatening experience.
Yes.
You can die from that.
Yes, because as great as the U.S. is, we are one of the highest in mortality rates when it comes to women and giving birth,
and especially in black women. But that's a different topic for a different day. But it's like we forget about that. A woman has to go through a lot, and that's not to discredit men, because I love y'all strong black men. To me, I appreciate everything you do, and I feel like that some instances the justice system and healthcare is set up for us for y'all to fail too. But again, that's a different topic for a different day. But as for women, we put our bodies on the line every day to make sure that it's even stable enough to sustain pregnancy, because remember, there are miscarriages, there are stillbirths, and then also, again, like I was saying, that with giving birth, it's a life-threatening thing. Every day, every month, every whatever time period that you are carrying a baby, you're at risk for whatever life throws at you.
Or it's at least a possibility.
At least a possibility, right? And I feel like that's getting overlooked, and it's like it's being overshadowed by that connotation that we just having abortions just to be having abortions. No, what about if I'm laying on the table and I find out I'm having the most joyous time of my life? I'm getting ready to have this baby that I'm manifesting and stuff like that, but come to find out, I got to make the choice between saving my baby, and that baby lives with him in a one-parent household. That's if even the father is even around. Or I gotta give up my baby and I gotta adjust to life after that. You know what I'm saying? That's number one. That's a hard decision, and you gotta put it. And sometimes, I don't mean to cut you off, I'm sorry, but sometimes you gotta put sometimes we stuck with this mindset or this decision. Do we go over do we use our morals and keep this baby, or let's just for lack of better words, forget these morals and let's save my life so I can possibly try again.
And here's something that you haven't mentioned, but
I'm getting to it.
It happens. What about the situations of rape?
Yeah, incest. Rape and incest, because that happens too. So you mean to tell me that I can't get rid of a reminder of that uncle that touched me secretly for the past 20 years, or that pastor or spiritual leader or whoever, that figure in my life that used to pull me in the back closet and do whatever and told me that if I tell anybody, I'll go to hell. And again, this is not me saying that this always happens, but it's the truth. This happens, and I feel like that gets overshadowed. But back to my original thing, because see, stuff like that gets me, wild up.
I understand why. I fully understand.
But that's why I support Madam VP and her running mate, because they think about that stuff. And also with her running mate, just like we said, IVF. So not only you telling me I can't have abortion, but then you also want to shut down a resource that may help me get, sustain a pregnancy or get the resources I need to keep this baby.
And I've thought about this before. I don't think I've openly said it, but my thing about this whole thing with abortions and stuff, and trying to tell women what to do. If women have these kids and they can't support them and they go into the system, you doing all this to the woman for what reason? Because if the kid grows up without the family or anybody take care of them, you're not going to, as the government, more times than not, you're not going to try to get the resources to take care of that kid.
And that's what I was getting ready to say. What's the difference from having an abortion or me having this kid, and since I can't take them because either I'm sick or I'm not in my right mind or whatever like that, you make them a ward of the state, and then they jump from foster home to foster home, and then now they become criminals because they had this misplaced anger. Now you want to throw them in jail. What's the difference? Because they are alive?
Yeah. Our government is, they have their good things, they have their bad things, but you want to take a woman right to choose away, and you're not gonna support the kid because of that choice.
I just don't.
Or, let me rephrase that. You're gonna support. You're trying to take the choice away from the woman, but when that kid is into the system, you don't have the means, so you're not trying to find the means.
And then you want to tell me I'm an unfit mother.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. It's just I just don't like the way that women are being used as a political pawn for this.
And it's not right.
And it's not right.
And it's made by people who have an agenda. And it's just it's wrong.
It's wrong. It is. Wrong. It is. But that's that. Now we can get, this is a perfect segue to the sorority party.
Yes, because as a active member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, I stand behind my sorors. If y'all ready to flip tables, I'm going to be first brother with y'all.
So just to backtrack, former President Donald Trump made a statement, a comment during the presidential debate, saying that Madam Vice President Kamala Harris had decided to go to a sorority party as opposed to going to, what was it?
Meeting. I think it was meeting.
Meeting with some dignitaries.
No, the President Benjamin. I'm trying to say his name. Benjamin. What Steve said. Netanyahu. Yeah. He came to meet with a conference. He was having a conference with President Biden at the time, but Madam Vice President, she was at you ladies' boule.
Yeah, she was at Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated International Boule.
Now, for everyone who's not familiar with the word boule, it's basically a conference for, like you said, a national conference where the ladies take care of their business. So
yeah, we get together nationwide. Yeah, I can say nationwide to get together, conduct business for the upcoming
fiscal
and sorority year. And then also at the same time too, she was at the Sigma Gamma Rose. I'm sorry. I start when you used to, you in Greek life, you start using little nicknames and stuff like that.
I'm glad you explained that to everybody. Yeah, now everybody's gonna get it.
But. Yeah. So he was shedding light. He was using it as a jab, I would say, to say that that's why her campaign hasn't been a success, because instead of taking these meetings and going on a traditional campaign trail, she decides to go to sorority parties. Now, again, as a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, I did take offense to that, because it's not a sorority party. When you think of the word party, you're thinking about that it's just for entertainment. You're laughing, you're drinking. It's a social gathering. In a sense, it is a social gathering, but
work is conducted. I know you want to say more because I can see it in your face. But
I just don't know how to say it without sounding biased or sound like this typical angry black woman.
But to explain to you guys why Madam Vice President was there, in case you didn't already know, she's a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So as a sister Greek, she wanted to meet with the other sister Greeks and discuss her platform for running for president.
Just like how anybody else would do, she using her resources for support.
Exactly.
And I just, again, not to get on my soapbox, again, I just feel like, just like how women's rights with their bodies, this is, I feel like anything dealing with the African American society is you being used as a pawn and being under a microscope just to divert from what's really going on. Because I mean, we don't have enough time to talk about it now, but to diverge from Project 2025 and Agenda 47.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he tried his best to distance himself from.
He said he don't have nothing to do with that. He never read it, and he purposely has not read it and does not plan to read it.
And we all know that the lie detector detested, or the lie detector.
He may not. I mean, he may not have read it because I mean it is long, but to disassociate from that,
my personal opinion, I don't think he disassociated from that, because remember what happened with Charleston.
Yep.
So, find people on both sides, or when he was telling the Proud Boys to stand there and be ready.
Yeah.
So you really expect people to buy? Well, some people who bought that mess, but I was gonna say something else. But
Steve, what is the site for this article before I
This is the Guardian.
The Guardian.
Yeah,
I'm familiar with the Guardian.
Okay, so the Guardian, just to give a little highlight to what is in Project 2025, it says here that it which seeks to strip away reproductive LGBTQ plus and voting rights. His policies align heavily with Project 2025. So Project 2025 is the base to go back to
Jim Crow.
Well, lack of better words, Jim Crow, and actually go back to, as I understood it, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, to go back to that old way of leaving it justice to the people. And anything that's like considered outside of, I don't want to say Christianity, more the religious aspect, like everything got to be exactly by the book.
Maybe traditional.
Traditional, thank you. The traditional way, as opposed to now, we have like LGBTQIA plus community, or the modern woman. She's not in the household anymore. She's out working, and that's perfectly acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Anything considered outside that traditional realm, it's being removed.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and this is why not to beat this drum again, but this is why it's important to get out and vote. And it just reminded me of a conversation that I had with a guy, and I'm about to explain to you guys. So let's say you have an empty bottle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
wait, we got a bottle right here.
So perfect. So let's say that you have an empty bottle,
mm-hmm.
and someone comes and puts 1 drop of water in it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make much of a difference, right?
Mm.
Now let's say that multiple people keep putting multiple drops of water in that bottle,
and then you get to like right here.
Eventually, you get right there, but eventually the bottle fills up. So what does that mean? And that 1 drop represents your one vote.
A collective makes a change.
Exactly. Yeah,
but it takes one person to set the foundation.
Exactly. Your one job represents that 1 vote, and your vote actually does matter.
I like that. I think we should end it on that note.
Yeah, I think we should,
because if I talk any more about what was said about women's rights and my organization's
involvement,
I'm gonna get mad.
Rightfully so, but
and I'm gonna say some things that I probably will regret later.
we trying to keep it clean, y'all.
I'm trying to remain saved.
Best way to say it.
I'm trying to remain saved.
No, but seriously, you guys, we're trying to keep it clean and keep it light, but at the same time make it a serious point and make it known what is going on in politics with the selection.
And then you may not agree with what we're saying, that's fine. But what we trying to do is give a different light. But at the end of all, the point is do your research and vote.
And we just want to make you think about it.
Yeah, just make you think.
Even if you don't vote, it's something on your mind like, you know what, I've never considered that.
And it's still all love. I ain't gonna look at you different.
Yeah. When it's all said and done, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But if you have a choice in the matter, I say exercise your choice to vote.
Yep. Because you're going to be mad if it was taken away. You'd be like, dang, I wish I would have had the choice.
Or even more, I've heard this recently. You get mad about something, but you didn't vote.
Anyway, bae, would you like to tell our cousins where they can find us at?
Of course. You guys can find us at our email. That is youstuckwithme@gmail.com. That is USTUCKWITME@gmail.com. You can find us on our Facebook page. Just type in You Stuck With Me and you'll see our page pop up. You can also find us on Instagram. You can look by searching You Stuck With Me _podcast, USTUCKWITME_podcast. You can find me personally on Instagram and the app formerly known as Twitter at MyM1NE_1. That is M1NE_1. Bae, you want to tell the people where they can find you?
You can find me on Instagram and the app formerly known as Twitter under Queen Points. That's PO1NTZ. Again, that is Queen Points, PO1NTZ. And if you want some more of the behind the scenes footage of our karaoke practices, or yawning, because now I want to yawn on air. Excuse me. You could follow me on on TikTok under Queen Points 22. Again, that's Queen Points 22. And also, if you like what you see or like what you hear, make sure to, You follow us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you stream your favorite shows.
And if you're on Apple, make sure you like, review, subscribe.
And don't forget to share, because sharing is caring.
Yes, sharing is definitely caring.
So this is your one and only, your favorite Taylor.
And this is your boy Marquise, and we out.
Hey, come back.
Y'all stuck with us.
You stuck. You stuck with me.
We out, y'all. Later.
Peace.